of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome, everybody. Thank you for attending. It's kind of interesting outside. We hope that it's quick and easy and we get home before it gets any worse. I would like to take a moment, though, to welcome our new board member from Plymouth, Christopher Kirk. Welcome. And please, if you have any questions at all, ever, either Mike or I would be happy to answer. Moving along, adjustment of the agenda.
Yes, I have under C7 new business, staff resignations at Chris Wessler, lab teacher, Plymouth High, and appointments, Eddie Raymond, custodian, part-time at EBS.
Very good. Moving on, approval of minutes of the board meeting for March 11th. So moved.
Second.
I hear a motion and a second on the floor. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Those opposed? Fantastic. This is the time that we allow members of the public to speak on item that they would like to. We ask that you keep it generic in nature, and also if you could give us your name and the town that you live in, we would appreciate it. Moving on, reading of communications. We have the administrative communications in our packet, and the superintendent.
I have nothing for the board other than my report.
Moving on to report. Superintendent.
Yeah, I'm going to keep it very brief because most of the stuff that I would say is coming through committee. I can tell you this is the busy part of the year. We are up to budgets every Monday, and then negotiations, and starting already to prepare for next year. So it's a little bit crazy, and I'll give my time to the student representative this evening.
Well, thank you, Mr. Hammer. I was told that I start to get eyeballed if I go too long, so I'll keep it quick, but I do have a few things.
No, you're fine.
Oh, thank you. I'll take my time then. The drama department has two shows, The Taming of a Shrew from the Roaring Twenties and You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown, and those shows start tomorrow through Saturday. The high school is hosting a college and career fair this Thursday, the 10th. It will be in the high school gym. This event is organized by Mrs. Wilson and Ms. Eisenhower. This is a great event for all students to partake in. We get colleges and businesses from all over the area that come and talk with our students. And those students get to start making connections with businesses and colleges for what they would like to do after high school. The high school is also partaking in a community service day, which is April 17th. Students will be spending 2 hours with their advisories and communities giving back. We have 30 businesses that will be taking part in this year. National Guard Day is on April 15th, next Tuesday. The high school will host the Army National Guard. This is an exciting day for students to learn more about your military and the services and career pathways. Several Guard members will be on campus representing their different military specialties. And let's see, Black Hawk helicopter will be coming. I was told, Mr. Hammer, you are invited to take a ride on that. Today, April 8th, Mrs. Eisenhower and Ms. Wilson went to Newton, Massachusetts with our GSP coach, Erica Wallstrom, and two of our seniors, Orla Murphy and Alexa Brand, and they took part in presenting the extended learning opportunity, our new course that's called Early Healthcare Occupation. It was a great opportunity to share learning experiences that we have here at Nokomis, and also Ms. Casey Lombardo and Kate Myers-Jewett had a presentation on something that they did as well. So that's all I got.
Wonderful.
GSP is Grade Schools Partnership?
Yes.
Any other questions? Kristen, that was wonderful.
Thank you.
Tristan pretty much covered it all, but our spring sports season has come in swing now. Practices for all sports have started. We have lacrosse, softball, baseball, and track. Both softball and baseball teams yesterday had games at UMaine, and Saturday boys lacrosse had a preseason play day.
We had busy school. Any questions? Thank you very much. Moving on to reports of special committees. Moving on to budget and finance.
So as you can see, the budget committee's been meeting fairly regularly every week throughout this process. I would like to direct your attention though to our minutes from last night. It gives you pretty much the breakdown of what a situation we're currently in to get our budget somewhere where we can see it absolutely livable for our communities. That is a reduction of 14.5 positions. So our biggest asset in this district is our people and our professionals. And also the major chunk of our budget. With those reductions of nearly $1 million, another $300,000 were taken out with the administrator's recommendations. Those, of course, including payments for professional services, software, furniture, and a van purchase. So this is probably the toughest budget cycle I've been through in my 5 years on this board. Hopefully, we are at a point now where we're going to get it together to the decimal point and be able to present it to you. But again, this is going to keep happening. Our people keep costing more. And the spending is going to need to be watched down to the penny to keep what we have or to retain what we've created. So again, budget meets next Tuesday at 6:30. We're almost at the end of this process. It is the #1 issue we are all here and voted on by our towns. Please show up. Please have your voice heard. And please know what's going on so we can advocate for this for our towns. Mike has more detailed information if anybody has any more questions.
Any questions for budget? Done. Moving on to building committee.
So the building committee met just before this thing. We had a discussion that involved contracts for bathroom renovation at EDS, contracts for mowing at the Williams Road properties, and a discussion of the budget that Felicia's putting forward for the two action items we have are the contracts for CEM and for the bathroom renovations. We have 2 bids on that out of the people who saw the specifications. Nickerson O'Day came in at $205,706. CEM came in at $182,402, and we are recommending CEM for that. That stands as a motion.
Second.
There's a motion, second on the floor. Any discussion for the motion?
Second.
All those in favor? Those opposed?
And the second item for action is mowing of our Williams Road properties. That's this whole complex here. We had Nickerson Yard Maintenance coming in at $116 for this year, $120,500 for next year, $125 for the year 27. And Greg Tasker coming in at, actually gave us a 4-year bid for $63,525, $65,880, $60,200 for the last 2 years. And our recommendation is to continue to use, Greg Tasker is the one who does it now, so we're recommending we continue to use Greg for that purpose.
And that is a motion? Second. Motion and second on the floor. Any discussion on that motion? Hearing none. All those in favor? Those opposed? It passes.
And we have no update on lights at this time, so that would be.
In terms of the bathroom renovations, what we're going to do in May is bring to you a motion to use a capital improvement for the 187. That's our portion of that, so that we don't have to borrow that. Because if we don't borrow it, it's a 2-page application as opposed to a much longer application, getting all the towns involved, taking it to the town for referendum. And so that will be a motion to take the 187. It will also be to pay out of capital improvement the $420,000 that will actually be what we borrow on at 0% interest for 10 years. And then when that money comes back from the main bond bank, we will put that right back into capital reserve. So there'll be a couple of action items under this project to make sure that it continues to move forward. Also, in your budget packet for next time, we'll be putting the $1 million into the bathrooms and the generator at EDS, and then that money you'll see where it's an expenditure and it's an allocation from fund balance, and it will also be an expenditure directly out as a one-time payment. So you'll see both those things.
Boiler?
Pardon me?
Boiler, you say?
Boiler. Bathrooms is the way you said it. Boiler. The boiler project for $1 million. Thanks, Mark. But you'll see those two things come through so that everybody knows how we're going to pay for those things that we kind of hanging there for a little bit.
Any questions? Hearing none. Moving on to education.
So we had a meeting on April 1st. We had a discussion around foreign language. That came up because there was a discussion in the budget about reducing the half-time Latin position, and around foreign language, we did away with that as a graduation requirement a couple years ago. But given how colleges are looking at the overall student and different pathways that they may choose, we're thinking maybe rather than bringing back foreign language as a graduation requirement, as we continue to move forward and look at graduation requirements, it might be something we look at that's more encompassing, not just focused on foreign language, so that we have our students trying to branch out and maybe step outside some of their comfort zones a little bit, which foreign language did. So that conversation will be ongoing, and we'll continue to look at that. And then the grading system wasn't really much around the grading system, but around an understanding of the honors classes or dual enrollment. We don't have any weighted courses here, so how do you entice students to put the effort and the rigor into those courses rather than just taking the easy course and getting the A? Like where is the benefit and what does it lie, and what was the explanation on that? It relied on that we kind of expect our students to self-motivate and go after that rigor. Again, it's an ongoing conversation, and I think as we have our students experience either go to college or take a different pathway straight out of Nokomis and go right into the workforce, whatever pathway they choose, we need to make sure that we can help them achieve all of those goals and maybe figure out a way to motivate them so we're not just getting that easy grade and they are doing those rigorous classes. So it's an ongoing conversation, but it was a good start. And we did have, for a future gender item, we do need to have some conversation, maybe not just in education, but in some of our other committees about what is the district looking at if we do reduce our funding through the Department of Ed, the federal Department of Ed that's getting some changes. What is that going to look like for us, and do we have a plan, and maybe start that conversation early rather than later?
Any questions for education? Moving on. Policy.
Policy Committee. You can see in the minutes we have a few policies in front of us that we have to take some votes on. They're kind of opposite directions in the packet versus the minutes. So I'll just start at the bottom, which we discussed updates to the concussion policy. And this was basically spurred by sort of updates from the state on how to handle concussions with students. So there's an updated policy, and the state has some of the newer sort of best practice guidelines for treating students and getting them back into sports and activities after concussions. So I would make a motion to accept for first reading the updates to the management of concussions and injuries.
Second.
We have a motion and a second on the floor to accept the first reading. All those in favor? Those opposed? Passes.
We also talked a bit about accountability and reporting to the public, which I would make a motion we accept for second reading. And I'm trying to, am I confused here? So that policy we talked about, we basically wanted to recommend approving it for second reading as written. And we talked about Robin and Mike creating a checklist to make sure that all of the different aspects of reporting that we're supposed to sort of keep up to date on are getting touched during the year. You know, for instance, right now we're in the middle of financial reporting, and we talked about being shown the comprehensive plan that gets reported to the state every year. And, you know, Mike told us how it would really give us some more insight into all of the different aspects of the school district, some of which we may or may not be aware of. Anyways, I would make a motion we accept for second reading. Ability.
Second.
That's just for one.
Come on. All right, there's a motion and a second on the floor for the accountability policy. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Those opposed?
And I guess I got confused. Are we doing for second reading discipline guidelines or
ADC-R1 for vaping and cigarettes, procedure? Yes.
So I was updating myself before this meeting on something different, in which case I'm not even 100% sure what the changes are.
The changes were on this to kind of look at page 2 of this, where there's restorative process for addressing students. There was a point where we were going to go into, you know, making some of these things the must-dos for students who engage multiple times, as opposed to what the administration came back to us with, saying that let's use this as a menu and to kind of make sure that the meetings that they have to have, if students are involved in this process, are streamlined somewhat, but we can use any one of these things or multiple things for students who vape, and kind of highlighting the educational programs for substance use program, community service, and health assessments. Those are the main changes. Again, this is procedure. It's something that we're going to try to continue to walk through this as we start to learn how kids are dealing with vaping.
Yeah.
I'd like to make a motion to pass ADC policy.
Second. We have a motion and second on the floor. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Any opposed? It passes.
And that's all I got.
Anything more? Very good. Transportation, no meeting.
No, next meeting, April 29th.
Negotiation.
We continue to move forward. We had a couple of meetings and we have a couple more on the schedule.
Very good. Tri-County?
Yeah, it was informational, but I'll go through it a little bit. At Skills USA, Tri-County earned 7 medals. Avery, not all our students, but Avery Fogler early childhood, Kenton Snowman, firefighting, team of Alana McMahon and Kalia Hagan, and Sunny Bach earned the bronze in criminal investigation, Chase Farnworth the silver in entrepreneurship and business plan. The student of the year is Chase Farnsworth. He will be going to a gala with the director up there. Firefighting at EMT and JMG. The EMS program worked with both JMG and to train students and stop the bleed, CPR, and using the AED, and recognizing opiate and overdoses and the administration of Narcan. So good collaboration up there. Attendance is pretty strong up there with 91.2%. 83 students have perfect attendance. They're gearing up for an HVAC program. It'll be one of the new programs up there, looking at industry standards and working closely with the buildings and trades, and a partnership with the Dexter Sunrise Kiwanis Club. The Bridge Academy, if you've heard of that before, it's where students can earn higher advanced level classes, college level classes while they're in high school, and they can end up getting, some people can earn an associate's degree by the time they get into college, and we've had various variations of this, but they're trying to bring that program back so that those students can earn credits while they're still in high school and get a lot of support from the ability to participate in at college level classes and college in general, especially if they've not previously been engaged with the college process. Some things if you're interested in, if you have students up at Tri-County, May 1st is the National Technical Honor Society. April 16th is the spring program. April 17th is the region. That's not for you guys. And May 29th is the Tri-County Technical Center's Awards night. They are working on their second draft of the budget, and then we also are going to discuss the calendar in a little bit. And remember that our calendar needs to align with five or less dissimilar days to their calendar, so we will have some discussion, but it's very important nowadays that we line up with that calendar, and that's that report.
Very good. Any questions for Tri-County? Moving on to ad hoc. Right?
Yeah, finally got a chance to have an ad hoc meeting.
And Robin Anderson.
And Rob missed the first meeting in 30 years, so we'll give her a little grace on that one. So basically when we go through the ad hoc committee, Gene and Simon was actually taking a course down at the conference, so he gave me a written report. Basically what we do is kind of go through the new and changing activities and the stipend list. And for the middle school, we have the two things that we're thinking of, that we've added and kind of started out as either a club sport or something that was done during enrichment was volleyball for in the spring, well in between basketball and softball, and we've started that. It's been pretty successful to play around the area teams. And then lacrosse. Lacrosse was a skills-based program the last couple of years during the after-school program. And now it has enough interest that we're going to try to put a couple of those actually into stipends. I think they were $1,000 each. We did discuss kind of at length level C basketball and potentially discontinuing that just because there's very difficult for them to find teams to play against. And some of those younger kids can still play some rec basketball and will help keep those rec programs a little more viable. And it's more on the boys' side because I don't think we have a whole lot of girls involved in C level programming. We do have a tremendous number of middle school students participating in all our sports. Wrestling was successful this year. That was something that we've taken over in the last couple of years at the middle school level. A lot of kids are enjoying that sport, and so things are going pretty well for middle school. They didn't have a lot of ads for us this year. On the high school side, it's a little more complicated. What they asked for was some changes in sports in terms of like making volleyball, which was a club sport. It started pretty slow and now it's pretty vigorous, and trying to match that up with what it would be like for a soccer or field hockey stipend. Fall cheering has less competition, so that will maybe go down a little bit. There was a pitch made for the golf coach to raise the stipend because of the number of things that they participate in. Esports, we talked about this, and remember when we started with this was also, it started with stipends that came out of the athletic budget, and they now want to have that actually put into the contract. Now, if you don't understand how our stipends work, we have to negotiate them each time we negotiate the contract for the base pay, and then when it's open, it's when we can add things or take away things. And then we have to kind of agree with the association on where they should be placed on the scale. So some of these things will be, I'll give you the bottom line in a couple minutes, but I'll just kind of go through what they've been thinking. Cross country should be up a little bit because they have 8 meets, and they should be in line with golf. Some of this is also safety. Indoor track should be the same as outdoor track. It's been a little bit lower, but they have the same number of meets, and it's actually a longer season. They have more travel because of the indoor facilities that they need to do. We've added assistant track, indoor track, just again, supervision. If you've ever been to a state or a track meet, they are spread out all the way over the whole huge facility, and they should have the same as the outdoor assistants just because of the same amount of coverage. They reduced girls freshman basketball. We haven't had that for quite some time, so that would be one that we could absorb. They would like to add an assistant wrestling coach just because that sometimes with girls and boys wrestling, it could be 2 different mats at the same time, or actually 2 different locations, and we've had to have volunteers do that. So that kind of puts us at some type of risk at that point in time. And there actually would be, hopefully the KVC will be adding, and the MPA will be adding a female-only tournament, so that assistant coach being able to go there while our other coaches doing other things with the boys would be very helpful. We've been having outdoor assistant tracks, but we didn't put them into the contracts. We need to do that. And lacrosse has changed. We used to pay, the MCI used to pay 1 stipend, and we would pay 1 stipend. MCI doesn't really have enough players anymore. They are going to still contribute to officials and travel and equipment, but they're not going to pay for the coaches anymore, so we would have to put another coach in for that stipend. So roughly, this is around $21,000 that we're going to add to the budget for these opportunities for our students to participate. Good question.
Can I ask a question in athletics in general? When do coaches have a contract, and how often are those renewed?
At the middle school, we open those up every year, and sometimes the same person gets the same, and sometimes we swap them out. High school seems to rotate on its own quite frequently, but they may stay in a position longer.
So if someone was interested in a high school position, how would they know when that's going to be then?
So, whenever that position's open, if they're interested in that, it's posted every year.
It is
It's posted
posted.
not
I
every
haven't
year.
seen it. So
Not every
I'm
year.
just curious.
It's when that person, at high school, when that person gets done, it's posted, and that would be
But what if the coach doesn't get done? Does it still get open?
not at the high school.
Any other questions? Thank you. Moving on to new business, old business, there is none. So moving on to new business. And it is the 25-26 calendar. I'm assuming that this is just for discussion only.
This is the start of the discussion. Again, realizing that we have to be in line with Tri-County. In discussions with Brian and having everyone put together the first draft, it was very similar to this year's draft. Most people are having questions about the December vacation and where you would put, how you would deal with that. And we pretty much decided to have that be 2 weeks. It's probably not going to be productive to have the students come in 1 or 2 days or 1 day prior to Christmas Eve and have that be productive time. So we're going to go out 2 weeks there under this draft. And I would bring your attention to October 24th. I believe that's Youth Hunting Day, and we can tell you that at the elementary school and the middle school, attendance was deplorable. And I completely understand why. But what we thought about doing was making that a workshop day instead of maybe the 10th. So have teachers in the building, and if they come down sick and have to be out doing something, we'll try to do the best we can to recover from that. But we would make that a day when kids don't have to make a choice between school and the tradition of hunting in this area.
You know what the answer would be.
So that would be the one variation that I probably haven't passed by Tri-County, but if that was one of the 5 days that we were dissimilar, I don't think it would make a big deal.
Any questions on the calendar?
So do you want a motion to it, or no, we're just looking?
I mean, if there isn't any major disagreement, you could say we accept this, calendar as proposed in terms of making, like maybe that adjustment to consider, and then align with the Tri-County, so we don't have to bring it back.
Negotiations,
That's true. So
I would wait until we get.
I just didn't know if you need it.
I don't need it now. I mean, they haven't really brought theirs to the table at Tri-County. They've asked for these. I assume that'll be the next month's meeting. So, we've waited a long time sometimes to get this done. This is pretty far along, but there will be a couple tweaks, but you don't need to necessarily make a motion. I've showed it to the association, and so you've seen it. So it should be a pretty quick discussion when it comes back.
On Tri-County, if we have a delay, what happens to that student that's to do it at Tri-County that day?
If we have a delay and they don't, they would go later.
Okay.
I try to communicate with Kevin and Stacy. They're my first connection. Then I kind of reach out towards Scout Egan. But yeah, Kevin and I and Stacy and Kelly try to keep.
The expectation is they just arrive.
Yeah, they'll
start.
just arrive late.
Okay, perfect.
Same as if they happen to say that they wanted to dismiss early, our kids would get a bus and we bring them back.
Okay, awesome, thank you.
The half days don't really matter on this calendar with Tri-County. It's the full days and starting out in the morning.
Any other questions? Moving on.
How many surveys have you had?
So far? Well, the one I pulled the other day wasn't really on purpose, but I think it's been 3. We shouldn't have done it last.
I disagree.
Wait, what did you say?
I shouldn't have done last Thursday, or whatever day it was.
Yeah, but if you had done it,
The traveling time is what hit us last Thursday. That was a good call.
Mr. Hamer, I will tell you, I was very appreciative.
We won't ask why.
Take a poll.
Not having school last week, I know it's always a controversy, but that was a good call. The back roads were a bottle. Anything that had a dirt road that our buses travel on was absolutely terrible. I was very thankful, and I said so to multiple people.
Good.
So just,
I appreciate that. 'Cause
And the thing is, it's such a big district that in Harlan, it may be one weather pattern, and in Plymouth, it might be something else, or at the Dixmont, so.
when you start getting into that work, it's miserable, and it's something that don't like
I tried to err on caution, but when I drove in the rain all the way to work, it was. I appreciate it.
Mine was not raining, so I.
Yeah, it was nice.
All right, moving along to staff resignation.
Yeah. Staff resignations, Jane Stork, principal, EDS, she's going to retire.
Congratulations, Jane.
Congratulations. Allie Hessen, grade 3 teacher at Somerset, personal reasoning. Teresa Sinclair, grade 7 math. Comas Regional Middle School personal. Ella Hartley, retirement at Tech 3 special ed EDS. Jean Barney, personal reasons, bus driver. Chris Wessler, the Latin teacher, halftime at Comas Regional High. Personal regions, and those are your resignations.
And require no action. Chad?
I'd like to add, with regret, for Jane's retirement, and welcome her to the new special ed.
That's not true. She's still.
Moving on to staff nominations.
I would nominate Sadie Edgecombe, grade 2 teacher at EDS.
That one does require action.
So moved.
Second. We have a motion and a second on the floor to accept Sadie Edgecombe. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Those opposed? It passes.
For appointments, just for information, you have Kathy Raymond Cook at Sebastopol Valley Elementary School, George Richardson, cook server at Comas Regional High Middle School, Christina Aguilar, Ed Tech 3 ACO program at Sebastopol Valley Elementary School, Dominique Gilbert, Ed Tech 1 special ed in Comas Regional Middle School, Eddie Raymond, custodian, part-time EDS, and transfers Caitlin Burton from math to CED at the Comas Regional High, and Casey Merle from server to cook at Comas Regional High.
Very good. At this time, are there any future agenda items that we need to add? Next meeting date? I'm sorry?
May 15th?
No, you're going to have to make some changes on your calendar. So remember to deal with the board.
May 6th.
To deal with the board getting the budget in short order. The first Tuesday in May, 6th, will be a board meeting. And then the next week would be education, if we so choose to put that in there. And then third would be budget. Third would be budget. And then on the district, well, I shouldn't say that, on the 20th of May is the district budget meeting in the gym, so we won't have a meeting, that's Tuesday. We will meet in the gym to present the budget to everybody, and then your referendum is on, what is that, Joe?
The second Tuesday of June.
Second Tuesday of June will be your
The
referendum.
10th, June 10th.
June 10th. So I feel it's a little remiss not to go into a little bit of discussion on the budget. I don't want to go too deep. I would just say that it was the most difficult thing that we've had to deal with as an administrative team. We completely understand it. I can just tell you that with insurance, we put in 7%, and this band was from 3 to 14, and we got 12. So there's $300,000 or $400,000 that we weren't anticipating right there. Okay, so that's out of our control. We only got $200,000 more from the state. That's another thing. Sometimes we get $400, $500, $600. I can tell you that we're in negotiations. That's always something that we don't know until we get to the end of it. I can tell you that the reductions that you will hear about next Tuesday or the next time when this budget comes forward to you, we did our best to not have anybody lose their job. We did take some positions, some math positions, a couple of positions at the high school, something at the middle school. We took a garden, ed tech, and any time that we had somebody that we reduced, we went to them and said, we probably have a position for you someplace else in the district. So nobody at the end of the day was left without a job. But I'll tell you, coming up with $1.2 million out of the things that we try to put together very hard for the students in this district was not an easy thing. And I appreciate the fact that the Finance Committee gave it to the administrators to have those conversations. And we met twice to try to think about those things. But we are not above and beyond any of these other districts to try to keep everything affordable to the community to look at you and say, we lost 14 and a half positions. We tried to spread it out. There was some van drivers who were getting done, but we can absorb. You heard we've combined runs. Some of those runs we can keep absorbed and still get students to school. So I can tell you that when it's all rolled up, I think we did a really nice job. It will be affordable, I believe, to the communities. I just want you to understand. And please, if you want to know more about it, usually that next time that we meet next week at 6:30, if you really want to get into the nuts and bolts one more time, that's the time to come. And I know we tried to put a nurse back, not a full-time nurse, but at least somebody to help cover the high school, middle school, and try to keep a full-time person at EDS. So we heard a lot of the things that people needed, and we did the best we possibly could, and I appreciate, like I said, our ability to be able to do it as administrators.
And if I'm correct, Mike, this next budget meeting this coming Tuesday is the last time we go through itemizing
It will be the last
and
time.
specifying. So please, again, any specific questions, concerns, Tuesday, 6:30. It will be the last time before we present to the full board.
Yeah, we took the tech integrator, but that person has another position at one of our schools. We're moving a literacy coach. There's some major things that we've done. So if you have interest in another level, please come up.
Anything else to bring in front of the board? If not, good night. Wow, you got 23 minutes. Great problem.